Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a new AI agent workshop. Currently, as part of the series, we are on November 20th. Here, we'll be covering ServiceNow approval and approval notifications. As you can see, we have a couple of other really exciting webinars lined up for you. We have one that's scheduled once every week on Wednesdays. All sessions begin at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. So if you're interested in any of these, please do sign up and we'll see you there. What we've come here to cover today is ServiceNow approvals using agentic AI automation. So we'll spend the first half of this covering how we can build two unique ServiceNow approval agentic AI automations. And second part will be doing a Q&A, and we can save any questions that come up at that time. So to begin, ServiceNow approvals using agentic AI automation. What I have done is broken this into two parts. And we'll cover each of them as we go. In the first part, we'll design an approval reminder in the bot. These are event-triggered API calls to ping users with pending approvals on a weekly or bi-weekly cadence of your choice. On the right, you will see a flow designer that has a sample mock-up of this experience. In here, there will be a ServiceNow flow that would trigger at a pre-configured time interval. For each pending approval, we will trigger an event API that would send a message in the Moveworks Copilot to the requester who has that pending approval. As you can see, the Moveworks Copilot messages Lewis with a pending approval, and the details of that approval record are also described in the bot. Furthermore, Lewis has the option to approve or reject an action on that pending approval. This will be beneficial for both parties involved, allows the requester to get their approvals approved, and allows power approvers to get a simple digest of their pending approvals in the bot with easily pre-configured buttons and actions that they can perform. Now, if you are interested in setting this up, the Moveworks team has built a really easy way to do this. Step one is install the Moveworks events XML update set. This update set allows you to send notifications to your bot via the Creator Studio events using either business rules or via Flow Designer. Once that update set is created, it will come along with certain properties and schedule jobs created in your ServiceNow instance. Furthermore, you can add the Moveworks Events API token to that instance. Again, we have some linked out steps and your customer success team can enable you on it. In Creator Studio, in the product itself, you want to design and create that events API use case. And the unique event ID that gets generated once you do create that use case, you can add it to the schedule script executor so it knows when to send a message and what is the linked Creator Studio use case there. Finally, you can create customizable and action-oriented steps for the user to action on for those pending approvals. And we'll see this and more very shortly. To see this in real time, what I will do is simply execute this job um, that will give me pending approvals in the bot itself. As you see, for every pending approval, the bot is going to send out an approval message with a customizable body of text you can see over here. Each of these comes with their own unique action that I can perform, which is either approve or reject that approval record. If I were to go ahead, I can approve and reject one or the other. And each of these are standalone API calls being made. And in this case, it's going to confirm that I did indeed click approve, and I can go ahead and approve that specific record. To see the details of the approval record itself, what the job is going to do is it's going to read all of my approvals of all the records that are pending my approval and send an API call with the event ID and a slot where the bot can then action on it. Furthermore, in the events in the events workspace, we can see that I have created the flow with an approve or reject button. And each of these have an executable API command to it, which will either approve or deny the record, approval record. Take a brief pause for any questions that are there. Moving on, this is what we saw right now was the bot proactively messaging a user, or in this case, approvers with pending approval records that are waiting on them. We can go a step further and allow users to be able to query all of their pending approvals or approvals of their choice. Um, this is something that you can partner with your business stakeholders to identify what are some bottlenecks or API custom API queries to query pending approvals for, and be able to, in a similar fashion, fetch these records from the ITSM of your choice and provide that information back to the user. So in here, what you're seeing is a user triggered query to fetch all approvals for the user and allow the customizable sequence of actions that can be performed as desired. So if you see on the right, this flow designer has Gwen asking, do I have any pending approvals that require my action? The steps that the bot can do is twofold here. It first resolves the user's email to a ServiceNow system ID or record or a unique system ID of record. Second is we've designed it so that it can search the ITSM for all pending approvals. And what you see being returned back is the Moveworks Copilot is going to let the user know that it's checking for approvals that need your action. And what it provides back to the user are a list of all of the approvals and the details as you see here. Again, all of the description and details that are provided back to the user are customizable simply because all of these fields are available in the API response that ServiceNow provides. It is up to you and your decision makers to identify what are some actionable fields that an approver needs before they can make that decision of approving or denying a pending approval. Now, what you'll notice here is this can be powered and created through Moveworks' agentic automation engine. This agentic automation engine creates plugins for your Moveworks Copilot so you can deploy AI agents for every business system. In this case, we have designed this for ServiceNow. So this is a ServiceNow AI agent. Within the plugin space, we can identify what are the triggers, what are the certain slots that the API should be able to pass back and forth between these systems, making sure that it has actions, it can orchestrate a workflow as designed by you, and finally be able to reason and use the Moveworks' agentic AI reasoning engine to make that all feasible. To cover this in slight more detail, what you'll see here is a website that will talk about exactly what this new agentic AI automation is. It allows the Moveworks Copilot to be able to pick the right action every time. It will be able to convert language to API values, execute actions reliably and transparently, and guarantee your most important policies all within one connected platform. Within this plugin workspace, um, you will notice that each action is independent. So an example could be, if we go back in here, when a user requests my pending approvals, we will have information of the user's email address for which we will want to retrieve what their um, system ID is of record. And in this case, ServiceNow, following which, once we do have that information, maybe we want to take that to then add a follow-up query into the system of record, in this case, ServiceNow, to search all pending approvals by the person's system ID. In order to do this, we would create independent actions that would do one and the other, and finally piece them all together by compounding them within the space called compound action. Finally, to deploy a specific plugin, we want to design what are the triggering criteria in place. And in that, it would be how would the user request and how it should work. So if we go back to the question here, do I have any pending approvals that require my action? Could be one of the many ways that the bot, we should expect the user to ask when this specific plugin should work. In order to see this live in a demo, I can ask the bot, what are my pending approvals that require my action? And as you know, there are a couple of things. Every time the bot, every time a question comes into the bot, it's going to try and discern what is the viable path or reasoning on what it should pull in from. And in this case, it's going to try and use that specific plugin that we created to fetch approval records that are pending my approval. Now, if you would notice, when I first triggered all of my pending approvals, I had retrieved two pending approvals right above over here, and I had approved one of them, but I still had a pending approval that was still needed my action. So when I do ask this question, it gives me back that specific um, approval that was pending my action. And I, of course, can go ahead and approve or deny this specific um, um, approval record. In terms of the details on this specific um, uh, uh, what we can see here is we can create system actions. Each action is independent of each other. We add them and sequence them within the compound action, and finally create a plugin that would trigger that compound action and sequence of steps that we would want the user to make. All of this and more within the plugins workspace, or the umbrella plugins workspace. Um, in order to sign up for this agentic automation engine, this is done through a self-nomination process. Uh, and we'll have the link available in community for that. And all users can follow along and get access to this, and be able to build agentic automation AI agents within your environment. How do you learn more? Well, first step would be to come join these weekly webinars and get certified in Creator Studio. Our team has pulled in a lot of resources to build a curated and step-by-step guide on how you can get enabled. And the best way to start would be through this Creator Studio developer certification. It has videos, training modules, and finally an assessment that would earn you a certification. To take it a step further, we have a plethora of developer-focused community, tutorials and guides, and documentation that would enable you to get started, and a community where you can leverage resources both from Moveworks, but also other developers like yourself using this platform to troubleshoot and get ideas, inspiration, and be able to build use cases that you can deploy within your organization. Like I said, take a brief pause for Q&A. Otherwise, I hope to see you again on another session.